Whoa, this is the Illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm gonna try to get my mid-afternoon surf on. I'm fired up about that. So, I've been pretty clear on these videos that I only try to speak from my own experience, and that I'm not telling anybody what to do. Everyone has to figure it out for themselves. All we can do is help each other along on the journey. Because what I found in my life is the minute anyone's tried to force me to do something, I'm not listening. I'm not buying. And I think that's part of who we are as the high frequency tribe, is we're individuals who are trying to break free of the system, and the system ultimately in the big picture is trying to force us to do something. And what I think it's trying to force us to do is disconnect from God. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And I just wanted to put it out there for those of you who hear that word and it freaks you out. I think that's what the system's trying to do. And I think we have no shortages of bad examples of people claiming to have a relationship with God, and yet they don't, or they're abusing it, or they're manipulating it. They're doing whatever they're doing. And so I was listening to some stuff the other day, and it was about how if you're truly connected to God, and that is in your life. Oh, I think I gotta sneeze. You will exhibit what God is ultimately giving you, is his supernatural ability to overcome the trappings of this lower dimensional experience in these spacesuits on this planet with only the 5 senses and the 3 dimensions dictating our life. Right? So God's pretty clear about, and when I speak of a God, Jesus Christ is my personal savior. But again, the word personal it's mine. I'm not trying to tell you what you need to do. I'm just sharing my experience, because what I've found through the journey of my life is people who share their experience and live by attraction versus promotion. I'm curious, but people that tell me that I'm doomed, or if you don't do this, bad things are going to happen to you. Look, man, you got to go figure out whatever you got to go figure out. All I know about life is when I'm not connected to God, bad things seem to happen. And because from what I understand is ultimately God is saying that he created us in his image, right? And I was listening to this dude the other day talk, Paul McGuire, and he was talking about the first thing I went and checked it out the first sentence in the Bible is about how creative God is. And if you just check out the beginning, it talks about how God creates this whole thing. And basically, it's a very creative, imaginative reality down here. And I don't get how people can cruise around and not wonder what that maximum potential is. There's just too much miracle going on everywhere. I mean, just think about bees. Just bees themselves. Think about the miracle of bees. Right? It's wild what bees do for us, and what bees and how it works. So what I've realized is a lot of people talk to me about witnessing my experience and this and that. And I go, you know what? I've put my whole experience basically on YouTube. You know, and I didn't talk about it for a long time. I mean, in a general way every now and then, because you can't just say you're doing something right off the bat. Man, you got to put some miles into your life. You know, I've been doing this almost 8 years on this thing, and those of you who have been watching me on this whole journey, or who have gone back and looked at my journey, like, the miracle has occurred. Nothing short of a miracle of how my life looks in video number 1 to how my life looks 1,500 videos later. So I think that I'm more comfortable to talk about this, because one of my big concerns is to be, I don't want to be another bad example. And I think there's too many bad examples. Like, why would you want to choose God when you see all these people claiming to be in the light of God that are down and negative and in fear and poor me and the whole thing? That's not what God does. See, from what I understand, from my personal experience, God is love. God radiates love and positive energy and abundance. And the more and more I grasp this, and the more and more I truly understand it in the depths of my soul, the more and more I become empowered, the more and more I am able to maximize my potential. Because, and I've heard it from so many sources, is if I'm in God's creation, He's down here, He wants me to be a maximum creative person. He doesn't want me to be a dour slave to the machine. He wants me to be free and abundant and joyous. And so when I look to it, and I think that's what changed my path, because I questioned a lot and doubted a lot and wasn't sure about stuff, and I don't know, these guys seem crazy, these Christian guys, or I don't know, dude, you know, you can look at the history, dude, look at what happened in the history of it all, and all the crusades and the inquisitions and the pedophiles and all that stuff. And yet when my journey of true unity, when my rebirth occurred, it was because I had people radiating as an example of the abundance and positivity and love and harmony, not with their words, but by their actions, by them reaching out and helping me, helping other people, and not doing it for any other reason, that they were empowered and that they were showing that the concept of lack is fake. It's an artificially inserted idea into you. That there is no lack, there's nothing but abundance here, and that this concept of lack is a con job to convince you to be afraid, and if you're afraid, you can't be in the presence of God. Because God isn't fear, God is love. God is this thing that has no fear. And the more and more I understand that, and the more and more I feel it inside of me, and I see it in the story of my life as it unfolds, I realize that is the truth. That somehow people have misconstrued what God's message is, and it's to be your maximum, to be as creative as you possibly can be with the gifts that you were given in this life. Like, I can't play guitar to save my life, right? But my art, the minute I turned my art over to the presence of God and spirituality, all of a sudden people were like, I want that on my wall. And so the more and more I begin to understand it, the more and more I realize that our gifts are the gifts of God. that is his presence. That if you can sing a beautiful song, that's your gift. And that's how you convey the message, is because that is your ability to override the three-dimensional, five-sense system and truly be your free, abundant self, right? And most people are afraid to take the leap. Most people have some sort of innate talent that bubbles with inside themselves that is nothing but creativity, and yet all sorts of people tell them, you don't want to do this, you want to go get a career, you want to go to college, you want to do anything but do what it is that you know is your passion. And the more and more I grow up, and especially now raising a small human being, I want him to do nothing but be in his creative, loving, abundant state. And the more and more I realize that this whole system down here is designed to crush that, because the system, the cities, the grid, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, is an abomination to God. Because God is everywhere. I see it everywhere. And yet, I can convince myself that it's not here, because I can believe the con job that God isn't about creativity, that God isn't about love, that God isn't about sending this message through my eyes to your eyes and going, yeah, this is my experience, and I'm not afraid of my experience. And people shouldn't be afraid, and nobody should tell you how you need to do it, and if you don't do it, bad things are going to happen. What they should do, and what I've always tried to do here, and I've failed many a times on it, is to share my experience and show you that miracles have occurred in my life, that I was given a second chance at life, and that I overcame alcoholism, drug addiction, cigarettes, isolation, loneliness, bad attitudes, bad energy, bad diet. And I'm living an abundant, joyous, happy, free life. And yet I can fully stick myself in the cage at any minute, the minute I forget that I am the radiating beacon of God's truth of love. I think that's all I got. It's The Illusion signing off.